Hey there. I am Zeph Slya. Thanks for joining me today as I bring you another solo raid video. Here I have showcased some Heroic 7 Tier 4 one-shots in the Ancient Judgement Solo Raid again. This is my second or third run of Heroic 7, and a few days ago I had also posted a video of my Heroic 7 Tier 4 one-shots, and some subsequent one-shots in the final tier, but I did this again for an interesting comparison. The first fight is the title fight of Knightmare Batman and LoA against EGL. Then I have set up chapters on the remaining fights for you, which are included in the video description, so you can jump to the boss fight from this tier that you want to see. Note the Cyborg fight starts at the 3.54 mark, Flash fight starts at the 6.22 mark, and the bash up of Martian Manhunter starts at the 7.45 mark. Now coming back to this fight, this is an interesting setup. Boss GL is high defense, gets higher defense based on the power bars he has and power drains on his specials, and the idiot is also critical attack resistant. Man, were they giving away these buffs/resistances for free at Costco or something? Anyway, in my last video of this tier that you saw, I easily smashed him with LoA. Now normally my Ascended LoA can defeat bosses without raid-specific artifacts if you add Silver Batman, or a character that stuns with Gemstone alongside them. Zatanna is very rarely needed to buff Ascended LoA, barring League raids, and Raven is not needed with them at all unless you are attempting a triple one-shot of phases 1 to 3 of Brainiac in League raids. In solos, if EPI and HBHU are together, using one of them as a damage dealer, any third character would also do if you give both the third character and one of EPI or HBHU the raid-specific artifact and use DMC on your damage dealer. But here as a challenge I decided to use EPI with Crown of Kondak, the raid artifact, HBHU with DMC as my damage dealer, and surprise surprise, Knightmare Batman with a level 7 gemstone. The challenge here was that Knightmare Batman does not have any stuns. So after you built up the combo and tagged him in to do a special to apply gemstone stacks, bear in mind his specials have longer animations too. He took a hit from EGL who power drained you, and then you had to tag an HBHQ with her DMC to do damage. Also, given the boss's critical attack resistance, Knightmare did not power drain with his Ascended passive as well. This was done from a challenge perspective, otherwise my Ascended LoA was finishing matches in 1 minute to 1 minute 20 seconds even without Zatanna or Raven. So given the limitations I mentioned, this ran pretty close and I nearly missed it. Luckily, like last time, given this boss's high defense, I did add one raid specific artifact on EPI. When it comes to high defense bosses, as I learnt with Shazam in the prior raid, even Ascended LoA need at least one raid-specific artifact and a gemstone user, or 2 raid-specific artifacts, or 1 raid-specific artifact and Zatanna puppet in play. It was an interesting setup in the end. Not many would have tried it, but good to one-shot this dude second time in a row. So this is the second fight I did. So add one more to the list of what Batman Ninja can one-shot. So the Batman Ninja team with Batman Ascended at least 1 level, albeit mine is now Ascended 3, can one-shot high defense bosses, bosses with damage reduction, sometimes even bosses with lethal attack resistance as long as it is not lethal attack immunity, bosses with class advantage over them, bosses that stun you on Tajin and do high damage and DOT or power drain on their specials, and as we saw last time whilst using them with MH, they can also get bosses with higher power generation. Finally, they got this boss who is resistant to armor pierce. But all of this is provided you have Beta Club on Batman, any raid artifact on BN Robin, and Puppet on the third character. The best person to put in the slot there is BN Joker, but here I have put Zatanna as this is an ultra high defense boss, albeit he doesn't do as much damage as the others. In my last run of H4 this was the only boss I did not one-shot, though I should have. As I was using my Ascended Freeze, and just like the movie G.I. Joe where someone once said I have never seen Snake Eyes take a hit, I have never seen my Ascended Freeze miss a one-shot before. Bear in mind I use him without Zatanna, Raven or any booster or any supporting percentage health reducer. So anyway, Batman Ninja made short work of this dude. But the only 2 times my Batman Ninja team has been challenged is one against the tier boss of this tier boss MMH. As you saw in my video last time, they did manage to get the one shot, but it was very close. MMH nearly killed them, and at one stage instead of power generating quickly he was getting 4 to 5 power bars gifted out of no. Luckily I still got him with this team. So this time I put Beast Boy on MMH and our man Beastie finished MMH in less than a minute, as you will see at the 7 minutes 45 seconds mark. The only other time my Bat Ninja team has been challenged is against the Heroic 7 Tier 2 boss EPI in another raid that stunned on Tajin and did DOT on her specials. However, that is when I used BNCW with my 3rd character in the team. But when I fought her again with this team and used BN Joker with Puppet, they blasted her into outer space. I didn't speak about this fight with Cyborg much, as it is nothing special barring the fact that this team could get past his high defense and armor-pierce resistance. Now on to Flash next. Flash is an interesting character with high fast attack-based passives. But in each raid that he is present as a sub-boss or boss, he very rarely has higher defense or resistances or immunities. The thing to watch out with him though is how the AI translates fast attack, is that at the higher heroics he can combo, and combo interrupt sometimes even when he shouldn't. So I used the trusted firm of Raven and Raiden with a power cost reducer here. If you have beta, then beta on Raiden like I put here, Zatanna's Puppet on Raven, and relevant raid specific artifact on the power cost reducer, which is Dr. Fate here, is more than enough to one-shot any boss not resistant to critical attacks or dot in any raid, and in most cases under a minute, or just over a minute as we see here. The Puppet on Raven is added to get its 5th damage effect, as well as the blind that will allow you to combo with Raiden for ease. However, if you are confident with combo interruption, you can add another raid artifact on Raven instead of Puppet for even more damage. From the free-to-play side, this team can also work with twin blades on Raven. You don't even need to ascend this team for solo raids. As long as you have both at 6-star with maxed artifacts, it is enough. Now let's move on to this tier's boss MMH. Yes, I have one more sub-boss to show you, but I will do that after showing MMH. Now MMH has a hell of a lot of buff, damage, power generation, and some sort of deal he has struck with the devil, maybe, haha, kidding. He isn't the most difficult boss out there. He is high defense, but not as high defense or tough as the tier 3 boss in this raid, who is a different piece of crazy A garbage altogether. But MMH can do a decent amount of damage, and you don't want to try tanking his super. Also, when I used Batman Ninja last time to power steal against this boss, it initially worked, but as you saw in my last video, the AI was countering using his increased power gen passive by not just increasing power gen, but every now and then randomly gifting him 4 to 5 power bars that appeared out of nowhere. So this time, to cut the C, sorry, not sure if I can say the full word on YouTube, I used our friend Beast Boy. Standard dude to one-shot any boss that is not dot resistant with or without any raid specific artifacts. He can overcome critical attack resistance too, but the only thing he can't overcome without help is critical attack immunity. So the timing here was the key. I had to ensure I tagged in Beast Boy when he had enough power to do 2 to 3 special ones that apply a temporary blind to the boss's specials, so that I could activate Puppet immediately. This was a pretty efficient fight. You don't want to tag in Beast Boy until you are ready to activate Puppet against this high damage guy. I also did not do the super as at 7-star or 8-star as my beastie now is. It doesn't matter, and I didn't want to give MH a chance to do his super. So this is the fight with that can't say the full word on YouTube vixen. Last time I had one-shot her with our friend Beastie. This time I tried my Ascended Manta Beta, Vixen Raid Artifact, and Silver Batman Gemstone team. I know Manta can one-shot Aquaman bosses and non-Aquaman bosses also with Raven. He can do that when he is just 5-star and not 8-star like here. But I like the way Manta plays. He is not a priority to build when you are building your account, and not worth spending money on, but if you have him, he is a real fun character to play. So I have been working on trying to get him to one-shot non-Aquaman bosses without Raiden, and I developed a few options which I demonstrated in another video. I will put links to my Manta videos in the description below as well. Now this boss vixen lady, I feel kind of cheated, or was it a device error? It used to happen with this setup to my non-ascended Manta, but I am surprised it happened here. Now we know I am using gemstone on Silver Batman, and as you increase its stacks their duration reduces. But it is not worth maintaining the 5th stack, but it is better to ensure that as long as you keep Manta's 100 stacks up, you should be able to build up to the 4th gemstone stack concurrently, which lasts a while, and should be enough even if you rebuild the gemstone stacks a couple of times. But never ever lose the Manta stacks and have to rebuild them. That is because this Manta is 8-star. Now people normally say that even against non-Aquaman bosses for Ascended Manta Twin Blades is the best artifact when he is supported by a gemstone wearer like Batman here. Or it could be Flash. I saw another video where a 12-star Manta with Twin Blades, CWW and Justice League Flash with gemstone one-shot the non-Aquaman boss in 2 minutes 18 seconds. Now honestly, even my 8-star Manta with a similar setup may be able to do it, as we saw he nearly did had it not been for a goof up in my dedicated Ascended Manta video. However, here I use beta on Manta because even when he tags out the beta dots crit and power steal from the boss as per his tech passive. This was needed to support a similar passive on Silver Batman, as this boss had very high power generation. However, while the one-shot looked comfortable at one stage, we see here she gets power and does an attack out of nowhere. It looks legit, but something jammed my input at that point of time. Then I had a choice of either doing a basic hit on her to maintain Manta stacks or stun her with Manta SP3 first, then do some basics with Manta and then tag in our man Batman to apply the gemstone stack. However, despite it not being clearly listed in her passive, she resisted a Manta stun as we saw, and that made him lose his stacks, and by the time I rebuilt them it was too late for the one shot. That is why Manta is a niche character that is high investment, and not in most one-shot teams, as there are quite a few bosses you have to avoid if you play him without Raiden, even if he is 8-star. Even if he was 12-star like in the video I saw elsewhere, it wouldn't matter much, as the critical damage tech ascension passive is no use beyond 10-star, as your max critical damage is capped at 500%. Yes, some say max that passive to the full and change some critical damage rolls on your gears to attack. But honestly, it takes a lot of time and effort to roll and reroll, and with great time and effort I got epic rolls and desired builds on at least 6 to 7 of my damage dealers, so I am not going to redo them, or do all of that rolling up talents jazz for every darned character. They have introduced the quality of life multiple roll of gears and talents, things which might make all of that easier, but unless it is urgent I won't necessarily get into all that. Anyway, we had to clean up Vixen. Damn, every time I do this I miss at least one shot. Last time it was Cyborg, and this time it was this Vixen. Anyway, I cleaned her up with the Flawed Justice team. Here too, either the AI or the inconsistency of my Nokia X35G staggered my input in this fight a bit. And what do you know? As a first in my using this Flawed Justice team, they did end up with a near flawed performance where my Hawkman died. I said, damn, well I need to spend another pip on this, but luckily this was just a clean up, and using Peacemaker's passive stacks and their increased SP damage. For once my Rockba was able to finish the fight. Great, so that is Heroic 7 Tier 4 done for the second time in the last few days, folks. That is it from my side. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do check out the other links I have provided below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
mercy while I warm up. You don't want to get in my way. You can't stop me from bringing peace. Even Eagly can finish you. For peace! You could beg for mercy while I warm up. Even Eagly can finish you. For peace! You could beg for mercy while I warm up.